Where can you find a presidential movie mansion, a 125-year-old painting that's longer than a football field, gardens, and a tiny door? Find all that and more at the Atlanta History Center.
We have 33 acres of gardens and history. And you can come and browse and graze and look and take in as much or little as you want at any given time. We're not a 45-minute attraction.
While visitors can trace Atlanta's history at the Atlanta History Center, the center's history begins here at the Swan House. Emily and Edward Inman built the estate as their dream home in 1928. While Edward died 3 years later, Emily's oldest son moved in with his family, and she lived there until 1965.
She wanted this home preserved. She had close ties with people with the Atlanta Historical Society, and a little plan developed that when Emily passed, the Historical Society would take over ownership, would purchase the home from her, from the family.
Today, the History Center welcomes guests to tour the home, one of architect Philip Schutze's most famous creations.
So the home itself is broken up into 4 different floors. The main level is kind of the family's living space. You'll see more of the formal spaces of the home, those intended for entertaining, and many of the contents are original to the home, so you're experiencing the home today as the family did in the 1920s and 30s.
The second floor features the bedrooms and an exhibit that commemorates the centennial of the 19th Amendment. The third floor features the servants' quarters and discusses their contributions to the home in the city of Atlanta. The terrace level features an exhibit on Schutze. The architect left his estate to the Atlanta History Center, and there, visitors will find some of his collections. Fans of the Hunger Games will recognize the mansion as President Snow's home in the movie franchise. Now, while the home represents the Atlanta History Center's birth, it's far from its only attraction. The center's largest piece is this painting that stands 49 feet tall, is longer than a football field, and weighs over 10,000 pounds. It's now a multimedia experience called Cyclorama, the Big Picture.
Imagine the viewer in 1886. All right, so you've never seen color photographs. There's about the only thing that you see are woodcuts in a newspaper, black and white, still images, and you've never seen anything this size. You've never seen films. All right, now you walk into this space and you're completely immersed in this scene, and you can't see where it ends in your peripheral vision. You can't see where it ends at the top or at the bottom. You're in the middle of the battle. You've never seen anything like this.
The Cyclorama depicts the Battle of Atlanta on July 22, 1864. Jones described the Cyclorama somewhere between history and art, fact and imagination. It was built for entertaining audiences. Visiting and viewing one of these is something people did back in the late 1800s. When it toured northern regions, it showcased a northern victory, which the Battle of Atlanta was. But when the traveling production turned south, the Cyclorama's tale was spun another way to showcase the Confederacy.
You're not going to see another one of these outside of here and Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. These are the only 2 surviving cycloramas in the United States from this period that are currently on display. This right here is a piece of entertainment and Civil War history, and I'm telling you, you got a lot, and you got a lot around it too. We have a whole exhibit devoted to this thing. We got original drawings, we've got a touchscreen video where you can interact and see who's in the painting and who's not. We got artifacts that were used in the Battle of Atlanta. We got a whole ton of stuff, and you need to be here to see it.
The Cyclorama showcases several interesting tidbits. There's only one African American in the painting. Jones theorizes he's there to symbolize the Union's cause. Northern General Blackjack Logan is the largest person in it. He became a celebrity after the war, and having him in it gave it some star power. Speaking of star power, another star can be spotted in it, though he came along about 50 years later.
And this one actually turns out to be true, unlike a lot of urban legends around this painting. In 1939, when the White Stars of Gone with the Wind, the Black Stars were not invited to the premiere in Atlanta, Clark Gable and Vivian Leigh visited the Cyclorama at the behest of the mayor of Atlanta, and Clark Gable supposedly said, "Hey, this is all great except for one thing, and I'm not in the painting." So the mayor did the next best thing. He had Clark Gable sculpted as one of the little figurines and put him on the diorama as a dead Union soldier, gut shot, big blood spot in his gut.
Play a game of Where's Waldo with the kids and adults. See if you can spot them all. Up next, the Locomotion, Railroads, and the Making of Atlanta exhibit. It represents the beginnings of Atlanta's history.
Well, we're right in the front of the Atlanta History Center, we're in front of the Texas locomotive and right next to the 0 milepost, which is right here. I call this our Romulus and Remus. That's why Atlanta's here. We're a railroad town. We wouldn't be here, we wouldn't have any issues with water or anything else because we wouldn't be so high up in the Piedmont. We're here because of railroads, and these are the two, symbols of what Atlanta's beginning, right here.
Climb aboard the railroad before venturing deeper into the center's other exhibits. From the Atlanta 96 exhibit to the Bobby Jones story, there's so much to see and do, you can't get it all done in a day. And that's before heading outside to explore some of the historic houses and gardens on the Atlanta History Center's 33 acres. Georgia's oldest surviving farmhouse is on the property. The Smith Farm tells a story of a working slave-holding farm. The wood cabin serves as a reminder that the Atlanta you know today used to be the frontier, and tells a story of Native Americans, white settlers, and Southern folk traditions. Explore some of the nature paths, boardwalk, and gardens the Atlanta History Center has to offer. See some animals too.
We've got sheep, and we've got goats, and we've got chickens, and they're all heirloom, and all of them around our Smith Farm, and you can bring your kids or grandkids there, and they can learn a little bit about what farm life was like in the 1860s.
The Atlanta History Center is open Tuesdays and Sundays. There's free parking too. And whether you visit as part of a homeschool group with your family or bring out-of-town guests, don't forget some time to find the Tiny Door. Some of Atlanta's most famous places include a 7-inch door from Tiny Doors ATL, an art project that aims to bring big wonder to spaces around Atlanta. Have some fun searching for the Swan House Tiny Door on a visit. Between movie mansions, great gardens, trains, and tiny doors, there's plenty of fun to be had while learning how Atlanta became Atlanta.
We're not boring, okay? I'm against being bored. I'm an anti-boredom person. I can't stand it. So come here, I promise you won't be bored, and if you get tired, we got plenty of caffeine for you.
Nelson Hicks, WSB-TV.com.